Welcome to Big Blend Radio's virtual cafe. Pull up a seat and let's find out who we're having a happy hour conversation with today. Welcome, everyone. We're very excited today. We're doing a live podcast. It's always fun and it gets our nerves a little like, ooh, are we going to make it work through technical things? Yeah, it's spring. The sun is out. Well, it's going down now, so it's a perfect time for a happy hour. And we have an amazing set of guests joining us for this live broadcast. We're going to be going around the world talking about favorite sips and nibbles that you can have around the world. I mean, really, when you see spring happen, you go, you know what? It's time to get outdoors. It's time to travel. So we're going to be traveling and we're going to go to Thailand, I think maybe Morocco, London. I know we're going to London. Cheryl Ogle's on the show. I know we're going to London. And we're also going to be going to America, right? That's where we are. We have two wineries on the show. We're going to be talking about their incredible events. I mean, wineries are really shifting in what they're doing for you to taste their wines and really learn and understand the craft and winemaking and just really what wineries go through to actually produce the lovely juice of wine. So we have Peggy Fiandaca on later talking about some of their favorite events, wine tastings and pairings. I got that straight. Yeah. I think I need some wine actually right now. And we also talked to Dave Spector, the winemaker over at Bells Up Winery. Peggy's in Arizona. Her and her husband Kurt own and run LDV Winery. And Dave and his wife Sarah own and run Bells Up Winery up in Oregon, and they have some incredible and unique events happening. But first, we've got Cheryl joining us on the show, and also Cheryl is a travel advisor. She owns Hey, want to go? Yes, we want to go. Travel. So she's on the show. And we also have Merle Rosenstein joining us, Rosenstein joining us. And she is a freelance writer who specializes in travel, drinks, and food. She's perfect for this show. You can keep up with Merle at Super Bubble. Bubby, I'm getting this. Yeah, I'm a little stressed here. I need a happy hour. Superbubby.ca. It's Bubbie. So check out that website. And after this airs, all the links will be in the episode notes. And you can keep up with Cheryl at heywannago.com. Cheryl, I need wine. I need to come out and hang out with you. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. Thank you. It's Friday. Glad it's Friday.
It is the first day of spring, and I'll tell you, man, spring sprung. I was up all night last night.
No.
literally have had no sleep, right? So you guys are all hearing that. Sorry about that. But I'll be jumpy and springy. But it's like it's full blast already. Do you feel that? What's going on in Texas?
Well, the wind's been blowing and it's been blowing dirt for about the last week and a half. So
Oh.
it feels springish. And then we do have blossoms and I've been sneezing nonstop. So some spring has hit Texas. It is
Ah,
not, it's not lovely. How's that?
well, but you are going to get those beautiful blue bonnets soon, right? I think.
Exactly. Another few weeks to bluebonnets, and that'll help take away the sting from the dust and the dirt that's everywhere.
Well, if
So,
you have dirt and dust, that means you need some sips and nibbles. You need to wash out the dirt because you know it gets in the mouth eventually
oh, it
at
is.
some
If
point.
you step outside, you come back in, and your teeth, you're
Chewing.
gritty. You have to go brush your teeth. I mean, literally, it's like, oh yeah, look, there's sand in my face again. So,
Oh,
yeah,
see,
it's
and I know you make snow like ice cream in the
snow ice
winter.
cream. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't want sand ice cream. So,
yeah, that's
a
not
lot of
happening.
a lot of toothbrushing this time of
That
year. So.
that would be a mud pie. We've got Merle here, Merle Rosenstein. Merle, did I get your name right after all my
You
practicing?
did. You did.
Did
Most
I?
people say Merrill, but you got Merle and Rosenstein. That's great.
Well, we were actually placing bets on you today. I want you to know about that. Merle, and because I said it's Merle, Nancy goes, "Well, it could be Merrill," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I'm glad you are here. I've been wanting you
Thank
on the
you.
show, and it's so exciting. And you have a level 2 wine and spirit education trust certification.
That's
Does
right.
that mean that you don't swirl the glass and call the that legs or not?
I do swirl the glass when I'm drinking wine, and just to see the legs, so how much is actually left on the sides of the glass, and after you swirl it. So I do that. Yes.
You like residue then. That's good. Like,
Yep.
a little film on there and all that. Well, this is so exciting about happy hour. And I love that Cheryl is on the show, not only because we've missed Cheryl, she's been traveling. She went to Morocco. She
Wow.
busted beyond her Italy, Croatia, France, Germany, London. London's calling. And busted out to Morocco. And I'm like, what? Cheryl's going to Morocco. She's going to my Africa continent. I'm loving this. But she
Yes,
doesn't she doesn't imbibe in the alcoholic spirits, which in the happy hour is about really people being together. And
right.
that's the important thing. And there are just so many amazing drinks, and mixology is getting better about doing, non-alcoholic cocktails, really, mocktails, I should say.
Yes.
But if you don't drink, Cheryl, as a non-drinker for your life, do you
Right.
care about the mocktail thing or not? Like, that's my
You
curious
know,
question for you.
yes and no. I love them, and occasionally I'll have a real cocktail, but it's very rare. I mean, maybe 5 a year. But with the mocktails, honestly, I don't want to drink my calories. And if I drink one, they're so good, but often they're 500 calories, and then I'm full and I can't eat a meal.
Oh,
So I really don't gravitate toward them a lot, but they are so creative and they're so tasty. They've come a long way, and I love that because I love that for people who don't drink at all, or like me, drink very very little. And so there's plenty of things that you can order without saying, "I'll take a Diet Coke, please." Um, there's a
yeah.
lot of other exciting options, and they can be regional, and that's what's a lot of fun. Is I want something regional when I travel wherever it
Mhm,
is.
mhm.
So I
And
like
a
that.
lot of those drinks are not alcoholic, and a lot of them are. But, that I love what you're saying too, because about the calories, right?
Hmm.
Because I know you want to leave room for cake. Isn't that true?
Always, I'd rather
Yeah.
have cake than a drink any day.
Okay. Well, her happy hour is cake. I love
There
this.
you
I
go.
love this.
That's right. We'll get to that.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so for happy hour today, we're celebrating spring. And by the way, Nancy says hi, y'all.
No.
We had like a technical, like, are we actually going to make the show happen? If you couldn't tell as we started this, but now I'm relaxing in, and honestly, I am having a glass of wine. I need it, but really, when you think about spring and happy hour, like for me, I actually will wanna I just wanna be outside, if unless there's the Texas wind and dirt
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Not so
maybe
much.
inside. But anywhere in the world that you wanna be right now, like, what do you wanna eat and drink for this happy hour right now? I know you're staying indoors right now, but we'll do the big happy hour question later. But Cheryl, what do you wanna eat and drink? Because Priscilla, our pink sock monkey, makes everything. She's really good about that.
Oh, you know what I'm missing, and it's something that I learned about in Morocco is they serve mint green tea.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna bring this up. I was
And
so hoping.
You
Yes,
know, I've never really loved green tea because it just, I don't know, it tastes funny. But boy, when you learn to make it and you make it with fresh mint and everything, it's amazing. So literally everywhere we went, you walk in, and even just as a greeting, they hand you a little glass that's a little taller than a shot glass, and here's some mint green tea. And boy, I got hooked on that stuff.
it's good
Um,
for you.
yeah, it's very, very good for you. So I, of course, had to buy the teapot there and everything, and come home to make my own just as soon as my mint pops up in my garden in another month or two. And I'll be having mint green tea too. So
You can infuse that with other things. I'm just saying.
you can, but I really do love the mint with that fresh mint. So
Yeah, no, no. I think the fresh mint, but you can make cocktails with that mint tea. I'm just saying. But I'm not gonna drag you onto the other side, but I'm just
um,
saying. But
yeah,
no, but the mint tea, Morocco mint tea is like an energizing thing, and mint is so good for your skin. It's good for your hair. It's like rosemary. I mean, mint is like a wonder, um, it's like a wonder herb, you know? It's
yeah.
wonderful. So, mint tea, what are you gonna eat with it? Oh, are we getting cake?
Oh, yeah. I think we have to go to cake. I didn't want to go to cake this early, but I think maybe just a vanilla cake
It's
would be
happy.
really nice with my mint tea.
Plain vanilla. Icing? No?
A
Yes,
little
no?
bit of frosting, a little vanilla frosting. I'm a vanilla girl. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
I know,
So
boring.
I want to see Merle. We're going to whirl with Merle. Um,
Okay.
Merle,
Uh,
you're in Ontario, right?
yeah, in Toronto.
Oh, oh, Toronto. I love that.
Hmm.
Ooh, now you have an international, like a massive international selection of yummies in your backyard, from
Oh,
what I
yeah,
know. I've not been to Toronto yet, but I really, really want to go to Toronto. Really want to go. Um, so you could pretty much eat your way around the world in your city, right? And drink your way around.
that's right. We have different neighborhoods representing different nationalities, and you can have lunch in Chinatown and dinner in Greektown, or um, yeah, there's lots of different places you can go. We've got great Indian food, um,
Yummy.
Italian food, so
Ooh.
there's lots of choice.
Well, the Indian food I'm in, 100%. Like if it's good, I really miss living in Africa for my childhood. I'm that's one thing I really miss. And you want it to be authentic, and
Yeah,
not yeah, you can't fake Indian food. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You just
no,
can't. There's some things you can't fake in life, and that is one of them.
so
Um,
true.
so Merle, like you've been traveling for a while, writing for what started like was it the wine? And by the way, I will say Cheryl has grapes in her backyard. She's in Lubbock, so I know Lubbock is a grape
Oh,
growing
yeah.
area for wine. Um, and you have wine in your backyard too, Cheryl. Remember, you left us a bottle of wine there next last time we saw
Exactly,
you.
some Texas wine, yeah.
Yes, Texas has a wonderful wine industry going. It's thriving, actually, pretty good.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
well, it's Texas. It's big. It's going to do it or go home. And it's going to say we're home, so we better do it right. But Merle, for you, what started what? I mean, going from wine, was it that always a thing, or is writing first, or travel first for you?
Well, it's really interesting because you might say that alcohol is kind of my family business. My father was a traveling alcohol salesman. My husband worked for the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, and my daughter worked for a major beer company. So I kind of fell into it that way. But then the traveling, my father moved to Hawaii about 30 years ago. And so I took my kids and many times. And so that's kind of where the travel part of it came from.
Oh, wow, that's very cool. I love that it's in your like your family blood, right? And
That's
you
right.
keep going with it and you start traveling. And I know you're going to talk to us about Bangkok. You were just there in Thailand,
Mhm.
and I want to hear all about that. I know Cheryl's going to be interested too. But what would you like to eat on this virtual happy hour and drink?
Well, I'm going to build on Cheryl's idea about the fresh mint because I really like a good mojito.
Mm,
And actually, my partner makes an excellent mojito. And so it'll have some of that fresh mint, rum, and soda water.
mm.
And that's something I'm kind of hankering for right now.
And for a little nibble?
Little nibble. Well, in the spring, we get out our barbecue. So I would like some barbecue chicken.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay, I think that's okay, Cheryl. That goes with Texas, or does it have
Boy,
to be beef?
it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds real good to me. Tomorrow,
Anything.
my goal is to clean my barbecue for the season tomorrow. So
Oh,
maybe that's what will be for dinner tomorrow night.
Hmm.
barbecue.
Thanks for the
Barbecue's always
inspiration.
good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Barbecue is good. I think I know everyone thinks summer. I'm like, no. I know people who barbecue in the snow. Do you do that
Yeah.
up in Canada? You guys do. You do, right?
Yeah, people do that. We don't do that, but there are a lot of people who do.
Diehards, yeah. I'm
Mhm.
like, "I don't care what's going on, I'm going out there," and I think really it's whoever's barbecuing just wants to have an excuse for a quiet life and just have their
Yeah.
beer or wine in private and quiet or smoke whatever, their cigarette or whatever, and just, like, "Just leave me alone for a bit." Like, I'm just I'll do this, you know. And that's fine. You know, that's a great balance. But this is very cool that you both travel the world. Merle, for you, like how many countries do you think you've been to at this point?
I retired a couple of years ago. Before that, I think I'd been to 10 countries. Now it's probably 15. So I'm just getting started. There will be
Well, no,
many
that's
more.
exciting. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Where have you been? Where are the like top places for you?
I've been to Chile. I did
Nice.
a wine tour, a wine
Yeah.
press trip there, which was fabulous. And I've also been to Thailand, as you mentioned before. We were in Tokyo recently. And I mean, I love Hawaii. I've been there a number of times to visit family. So those are some of my favorites.
Mm, I know, and you said Hawaii. I'm like, oh, that's this country, but you're in Canada, and apparently we're a little different now. But that's
Yeah.
that, you know. But Hawaii, I mean, that's a thing. It's like, oh, such a. You go there a lot too, Cheryl, right?
I've
Hawaii.
been many times. Have you had the pineapple wine from Tedeschi? I think it's Tedeschi Winery in Maui.
Yes, I have.
Isn't that
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was years ago, but
Hmm.
I like a, a nice sweet taste. So,
Okay,
Hmm.
so we are going to pull out some liquor from Cheryl on this show. By the time we're done, we're going to find out that she's had way more than we ever knew. So I like this. So is this Tedeschi, like Susan Tedeschi, you know, Derek Trucks and the Tedeschi band, like the musicians?
I have no idea.
Well, it should be. Like
Okay,
I don't know, but I'm a big fan of the band. I'm just saying.
okay.
Derek Trucks and Susan Tedeschi. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Well,
nothing.
You went to another Rod Stewart concert.
I sure did. I did. 2 weeks ago. It was so much fun.
Is it
Loaded
at
up.
this point that he knows you because you keep giving him onesies for his grandkids and stuff? Does he know you? Like,
I
does he recognize you and go like, "It's Cheryl again"?
Yeah, I
Yeah?
don't I think there's some familiarity, and when he saw me walking toward the stage with a onesie, he grabbed his tie, his necktie, and handed it to me. So I did leave that time with the tie. So that was kind of fun to have his tie that he wore in the show. So,
You
but
have
are
Rod
we
Stewart's
besties?
tie.
No, I know. Yeah, it's
You
hanging
have
on my
soccer
Rod
balls.
Stewart whiskey. Yeah, it's hanging on my whiskey bottle.
She has yeah, Nancy and you know, when we visited you, we look at that, we're like, "She's got Rod Stewart whiskey." Oh,
It's
we really want it.
the bottle's autographed. Do not
I
open
know,
it.
but
Yeah,
you
That's so
know we wanna
cool.
take a sip of it,
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
know, and we're like, "Cheryl would never forgive us if we opened that bottle."
No, no, she would not.
This would be the day when Cheryl says we are no longer friends, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know we want to, right? So
I
he
know you want to, but no.
but that is his, he has his own line.
Yes.
And
Yes, he started that a couple of years ago, and I he had autographed like 1,000 labels, and so you just had to order and hope for the best. It was all by chance, so I ordered 2 bottles, which I probably shouldn't tell you, and when I got them, I started screaming because one was autographed and one was not,
Oh.
this
which
is
means now I need to h lock up the other bottle.
no, we're never gonna touch it, I swear.
I know.
I know. No, no, we won't. No, 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 no.
I know
Because
you
how
would.
could
I'm gonna
you
tease you.
you couldn't like really if you were going to sneak a snip like of something, like a little snippy of whatever from anyone that you shouldn't, are you going to enjoy it? Like I would never do that to you because I know you, right? But like it would be I don't know. I don't think I could enjoy like there's naughtiness, right?
Right.
There's naughty, like do this when you shouldn't when you're a kid and stuff like that, and
I
when you're
know
not
you would
doing real
never do
harm.
it. No, you would
I
never do
don't think
it.
you'd enjoy it. You
I'm
couldn't
not even
enjoy it.
gonna lose sleep over that one. Nope,
No, but I'm still like, it's there. Like Nancy and I look at it and go, it's there.
it's there. Well, now it has a necktie hanging on it that my
Oh,
sister tied because I don't know how to tie a tie, so
oh,
my
I don't know
sister
how to.
tied it for me. So,
No, I was not good at. I had to wear a tie in boarding school, and that didn't do very well.
yeah.
But I did. Speaking of pineapple, learn how to brew pineapple beer in the
Oh,
rafters of our boarding school in
gosh.
high school. Well, listen, you're gonna put a bunch of women in a boarding school? Like, come on now. We're gonna do something. It was Grahamstown, South Africa, And so we're surrounded by pineapple. It's like we're living in Hawaii, but we had pineapple farms and ranches as you call here and everything. And so the town has 50 plus churches. It is, church city on top of a military base, army, and private schools, boarding schools, and one of the most liberal arts universities you can think of, Rhodes University. And so, like in our boarding school, you could smell pot coming from wafting over from the university, and around the corner they've got guns, man.
Oh gosh.
Then you've got the private schools, and I was just in the regular boarding school, but it was from girls, and they separate us all. And then everybody meets in church, and we went to all the different churches, and it was really interesting. And I also used to play pool with the military guys when I was in. Anyway, I got in trouble. I was in permanent detention, but
Ooh.
so well, when you get put into detention, you suddenly just like all I got into trouble for was walking off the campus. Nothing bad. Um, what they didn't know is I was playing pool and making money with the military guys. Nothing too bad. Nothing too bad at all. Very actually innocent. Not doing anything out of line, but like my friend got caught smoking and she went to detention for 2 weeks. Go figure,
Mhm.
right? Like it didn't. And then one friend cut her hair in a way they didn't like it, and she was like in detention for 6 months, but smoking was okay. So
Oh,
you tell me
funny.
what was going on there, but it was a very interesting place. But they had pineapples everywhere, so pineapple beer was a thing that was a tradition of our boarding school that has they had a just like a little pot thing going up in the rafters at the top, and it was always happening, and it tasted really bad and nobody got anything other than you. So there, sorry, it you think it's very fun and exciting until you taste it, and then you realize it's not that fun and you really don't get a buzz and it's gross.
So
So
basically, you had rotten pineapple up in the rafters, and then y'all ate or drank it.
yes.
Okay, that's yeah.
And then went
Give
to
me a good
church and
tea
got in
any day.
trouble. But I went to church after that and got in trouble, so I know. But anyway, because I sent a little, you apparently, when they have these big ecumenical services and um anyway, you don't throw paper airplanes when you're behind the choir and the whole church can see you,
That's
and you forget.
unfortunate.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It was very cool. It was very cool. So, that was that I love that. But let's go back to happy hour. But I'm talking about, childish happy hour time. I want to go over back to you, Merle. So, traveling, doing the wine education. What do you do with the wine education? You're using it in your writing. Do you go do speaking? Do you do anything with that certification um, to like help people, or you is it through your writing mostly?
I have spoken about wine, but right now it's mostly in my interviewing because whenever I write about a bar, cocktail bar, or wine or food, I like to interview somebody, like the owner or a bartender. And so I use my certification to understand, how wine is made or how
Mhm.
spirits are made, and also the different kinds and how you taste and all of that. So I use it all the time.
So, does that make you a super bubby? What's a super bubby?
So a super bubby is a traveler, actually a backpacker who is over 60 and is taking on traveling like nobody's business. And so booby means grandmother. I'm not a grandmother, but I still am a super booby.
I like this. Well, I love this. We have a 1 hour walk Facebook group that we all have to reinstate because we all got cold over the winter and none of us have done well on it. And it started because, we travel full time and we document parks and public lands. And
Mhm.
people started telling me, like, oh, I'm not a backpacker, so I'm not going to go to this park. And I'm like, what? You know, you can go any you, parks are open for everyone pretty much.
So true.
And some parks, yes, are for hikers, and if you have a mobility issue, yeah, maybe you don't want to do that trail, but there's going to be something for someone anywhere. And it's really quite interesting with that. Now, do you take wine with you on your hikes? I do. I just want to know if you do what we do.
That's such an interesting question. I can't say that I have,
Oh.
although it's a great idea, and I will definitely put that into practice.
Okay, so hiking, so this is how it started. So Big Blend Radio started 18 years ago as Champagne Sundays every, Sunday. This was Nancy's thing because Nancy and I do this, and Nancy, my mom, who would be here, if we didn't have like whatever technical thing, but it's all cleared up. Isn't that nice? Um, we have our champagne sundae, and it's not necessarily champagne, it's anything with a bubble. It could be tea, it could be anything. It's about taking time out and being thankful for what is there,
Hmm.
right? And I think in the world now where everybody's arguing and fighting and warring and doing all this crazy stuff, we need to do that more than ever. And
Hmm.
so our show was Champagne Sundays, and we did. We she said, "Well, if we're going to do this, we're having our champagne time." And so we did. We had our champagne, and what we would do is we would interview everyone, say, have a toast to whatever. And today we're doing a toast to spring because hey, it's the bouncy excitement, flowers, baby animals, birds, all that good stuff. And it's exciting. It's renewal, right?
Hmm.
But every time we would have our champagne Sunday, we would take our bottle and we'd plant it in the garden, and we made garden beds out of bottles turned upside down. So the base of the bottom's up, and that's how we made garden beds out of bottles. It was our way of recycling, and it worked. It was very cool. And but when we hike, I would, if it was a Sunday, I'm the one carrying the bottles. And if we had friends, it would be two bottles, and I'd be hiking. And when the bottles started to sweat was when we knew it was time to stop and have our champagne brunch on our hike. Because I'm like, all right, it's sweating. It's time to stop, especially because we also lived out in the desert. So, champagne, that's what we did, have our little champagne and our
Hmm.
sandwiches. And that's what we do to this day. We
So
still
fun.
hike with wine or bubbles. And when you sit in nature, and the hummingbirds, especially in the desert, right? The birds, and once you settle down with your picnic, they know you're relaxed. So they start to come around. If you just kind of you ignore them, but you're watching them, right? You're like, oh, look at that. That's so pretty. You take your sip or whatever, but I think they are attracted to the yeast
Hmm.
inside the champagne or the wine, and they start to come around more and more, and the butterflies come around more and more. We're in that perfect season for it. So imbibe
You
outside. So
you
when
want
you're
to
in the
make
hike, do it. It's
Yeah.
cool.
You want to make sure that you stay hydrated though,
Oh yeah,
especially
yeah, yeah. Oh
if it's
yeah,
hot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nancy will go down because she gets sunstroke from our years in Africa. She'll go down. So we always have water, water, water. Every time you take a sip of wine, take a sip of water. That's kind of our rule. And then
Very good.
it slows you down too,
Yeah.
because you can't drink that much, when you do that. So, yeah. All right. So, I want to ask each of you a little bit about your regional travels. Cheryl was talking about Moroccan tea. You just went to Bangkok, Merle. So, like
That's right.
Bangkok, Thailand, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Tropical paradise. So were the drinks tropical? What, you went to 3 different bars. You made
Hmm.
it you met an amazing, lady chef out there too. So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about that culinary and sipping journey that you had.
Okay. So when I was there, I learned that there's quite a good cocktail culture. And I went to three different bars that had different philosophies about their cocktails. The first one was called Dry Wave Studio, and the owner has won many awards as a bartender. And the bar has actually won an award, even though it's only been open up a year. And the concept there is taking two classic cocktails and putting them together. So that was one place that I went. The second bar was called Stella, And the drinks menu there was all about old Siam and
Mm.
cultural aspects. So that was the second one. The third one was called Stella, sorry, Opium. And that was also a very interesting bar that was part of the restaurant Potong that we went to, where we had an 11-course meal. And it took 3 hours. It was a lovely meal.
I was gonna 3-hour meal, that's cool. Like, so that was different dishes, one after the other, right?
Yes.
For that. Mm.
Yeah, and the highlights of that were scallops in a sauté sauce, Thai noodles with caviar, and we had a
Wow.
delicious duck dinner as well.
Wow. Okay. Now, did they pair drinks with each meal or each dish?
Yeah, they did. They gave us different drinks with each dish, and we had a lovely dessert as well.
Now, do they drink a lot of liquor? Like, from what I've heard, it's like you've got to be able to stand up.
Yeah,
Like they are seasoned drinkers over there. Like they have a high tolerance. Is that true?
I don't know if that's true, but they do have a national spirit. It's called Mekong whiskey. And it's a blend of Thai rice whiskey and Scotch whiskey with different spices and local ingredients.
Mm.
So they have their own local spirits there, and those are being used more often now in their cocktails.
Oh, that's cool that they're keeping it local, but it's you. I know you're emailing me about this. Like Bangkok has like a cocktail culture, like speakeasies. From doing this show and other shows that we do, I'm hearing like our country is getting back into the speakeasy world, and it sounds like Bangkok is doing that too. So are we globally like speakeasies are back in like
Definitely,
speakeasy?
definitely. I think there's a lot of interest in speakeasies that have hidden doors or passwords that aren't, so easy to find, and also classic cocktails
Mm.
being made at these speakeasies. So there's definitely an interest there.
That's cool. I want to go, Cheryl. I know you've traveled all over. I know that you'll have an Irish coffee, right, Cheryl?
Yes,
I know
I
that's
I
a thing.
enjoy an Irish coffee.
Okay.
Yes.
That in Ireland, or will you order it somewhere else?
Well, it's always best in Ireland, and I did just book myself a few days in Ireland in May after a
It did.
trip to London. So I figured, well,
Oh,
on the way home, let's stop in Ireland for a couple of days.
oh my God. That's so funny because I was just in an interview with Glenn from Norfolk Tours. You know him.
Uh-huh,
And I
yeah.
was talking about you. And I said, oh, Cheryl's going to be on the show. We were talking about something. I said, he was talking about how easy, like if you look at England, how you can go anywhere, like
Yes.
in Europe, and how easy it is to go to France, Wales, Isle of Man, all of that.
Hmm.
And I said, "Well, that's all Cheryl is. If she goes to Europe, I don't care if she's going to Croatia, Germany, whatever, she's going to London. She is going to go to London. There's no way she will not go to London. Like, I don't know you to not go to London if you go anywhere in Europe. Am I pretty right on that?"
Yeah, yeah. I try if I'm going to be abroad, I might as well. But when I was in Morocco, I did not go to London. We overnighted in Madrid, which was a short flight from Casablanca. Um, so
You went to Casablanca too?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's pretty
But
iconic, isn't it?
but you can't get from Casablanca to Lubbock, Texas in the same day. You have to overnight somewhere, Madrid or London. And so we actually chose Madrid. It was a little bit easier this time. But no, in May, I want to go back to the Chelsea Flower Show. I did that last year and I fell in love with it. And so I've decided that's what I'm going to do every May is I have to go to London for the Chelsea Flower Show just
Mm.
because. It's beautiful. And so I'm going with my stepsister, and I texted her a few days ago and I said, hey, you want to go to Dublin for a few days on the way home? And she said, are you serious? Yeah, yeah, I am. She said, sounds good. So I made that happen. Um,
Oh,
so while we're there, we will definitely have an Irish coffee.
That sounds good.
For sure, it
Irish
does sound
coffee.
good. I know, it does sound
Yeah.
good. It's been a
Sounds good right
heck of a
now.
week. It sounds good right now. It might that
Sounds
might yeah,
yeah.
that and the jacuzzi tonight may be in my future. So,
Now, have you seen speakeasies in your travels? I know you're not necessarily always looking for bars, but like, you
we
know,
actually have a few in Lubbock, believe it or not.
what?
Yeah, that's a thing here. It's a thing everywhere, really. And it's one of those, if you know, you know, and you find out where to go past the third trash can and knock twice, and then enter this code and that kind of thing. So I think it's a really fun idea for friends to get together and enjoy that.
Yeah, I would think London would be into that too. Like it seems like a London kind of thing to do. Now, if in London, what is like a go-to when you go there, eat, drink thing for you?
I stay near Big Ben, the Westminster Bridge, and I have an Italian restaurant that I love. It's called Local South Bank, and I go there every time that I visit because they have a sage and butter cheese ravioli that I just love, and I
Ooh.
can't seem to nail it home. So I enjoy that. Um, there's also a tavern that I visit that is really good, and Winston Churchill used to eat there back in the day. You can get an amazing fish and chips or regular pub food. So another restaurant called Coppa Club, it's over near the Tower of London, and they have my favorite dessert, which is sticky toffee pudding.
Oh, yes, we all need
Mm.
So
sticky toffee pudding.
yes. So anyway, so I have some favorites that I go to, and then I kind of get those out of the way, and then I try to eat salads the rest of the time to offset my naughtiness at the other place. So
Well, I had to bring up cake and pudding and all that good stuff. Now, Croatia, because that's another thing. It seems like Croatia is like on everyone's list to go to, and that it's really, really buzzing. Like
it,
it's really doing well.
it is incredible. It's booming. Something neat is, Italy has exploded the last 10 years or so, and Croatia is right on that verge. And I think in another 5 to 10 years, Croatia is going, maybe even less, Croatia is going to be kind of the new Italy. But it's really a special place to go, and they have amazing food. I, I
Mm.
love I love Croatian food, little sausages, and anyway, all sorts of things.
I want to go back to you, Merle. For you, and I know you've just come out of Thailand. Is when you look at Thailand and Bangkok, especially, right? And now I've got that song stuck in my head. Bangkok, city of the okay, I got it. One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster. It's like that song and then putting on the Ritz, put them together, and you'll yell at me at 2 in the morning. Um, they're like bookends. It's kinda like that Miley Cyrus thing and Bruno Mars songs. They're like bookends. But anyway, we won't go there. But, Merle, like, it's interesting, but do you think are they looking at it as their cocktail culture? Is it for locals, or is this something that they want travelers to know about? Is this something that is part of the travel makeup to entice people to come out to the country?
Well, I know that when I go somewhere, I
Well,
want
the
to
city for Bangkok, by the way, I'm not done, but
go.
yeah, sorry. As I was saying it, I was like, meant Thailand as a whole. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so when I go somewhere, I'd like to go where the locals are because I want to understand the local culture. I want to meet people, and so that's kind of what I like to do. The bars that I went to, the three bars, were some were one or two were for locals more, and then the other one was for tourists. But definitely, it's definitely fun to go to a bar where there are lots of locals.
I agree. I agree anywhere. When wherever you go where the local hangouts are. And then
Yes.
there's the must-dos too. I mean, Cheryl, is that how you travel too? Going more of
Try,
the local things?
yes, try to get off the main street if you can. Even if you take a train, a little day trip somewhere, anything on the main street that you see is set up for tourists. So wander around a bit and see what you can find in a smaller alley. You probably find family run restaurants and things like that.
So this is your travel advisor, y'all. Cheryl's sending you down an alley. I'm just
That's
kidding.
right. Be careful only during, daylight hours. No, but just, know where you are. No,
I know.
be
I'm
aware of
just
your
kidding.
surroundings, but definitely don't go to the first restaurant next to the train station. You're going to
Mm,
pay a lot of money for bad, well, probably bad food. I shouldn't generalize, but mediocre food. But go find a
mm,
family-run restaurant where they
mm.
actually care that you're there.
Yeah. Do you look for that too, Merle?
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely will not go to the restaurant by the train station. We have done that in the past, but definitely, a tip too is to see if what's busy. If a restaurant is busy, then it's usually good.
It's a good
Mm.
sign. If it's
And
empty, avoid it unless that truly is your last opportunity.
oh
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, an empty restaurant, no, no, no,
Yeah, yeah. And I think when it's busy too, it doesn't mean that it's expensive either. That's
no,
the other thing. People always think, oh, if it's really busy and so many people going in, it's going to be so popular and expensive. Don't look at it that way either.
yeah.
Um, and what about reviews? I want to ask you both about that because when you're traveling to a foreign country or even, locally, how much do you care about reviews? Let's go with you, Merle, first on that.
I care quite a bit actually because I want to know if the food is, good quality food for a decent price. And they call that bib gourmand. It's part of the Michelin star. So yeah, I want, and sometimes depends where I am, but I don't want to get sick. So I have had that problem in a couple places. So I'm super careful now,
Mm,
um, about
okay.
where I go, what I eat, and make sure that if you're in certain places that are hot, that the food is cooked in front of you, and that sort of thing. It's being kinder to your tummy.
Mm.
Hmm.
And also, I also want to say for people who read the reviews, remember, like if you have someone going crazy off, sometimes, and like a place has like say 100 5-star reviews, and then somebody goes nuts, right? And if no one follows up with another like nuts angry, you know what I mean? Um, and the next one's good. Just remember, there's some people that really give bad reviews just out of because they're angry people. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just I think there's also a warning of the review thing.
Yeah.
Balance it, look at it and go in general. And when you read reviews, you can actually try to you'll find someone that kind of goes with who you are, right? If they've done a good
Mhm.
review. That kind of goes with what you're looking for. But sometimes some people are just so, oh, you'll never be perfect, so I'm always going to give you a 3. you
Some
know?
No.
people really just want to complain and they want to be mad, and I've learned that. And usually throw out the very highest and the very lowest. Now, if it's consistent 1 star, there's your sign right there. But if you just have
Exactly.
a
Mhm.
couple that, well, my sandwich wasn't hot, really, really,
Mm,
that's all you got. Um, some people are just looking for ways, and food is subjective too. My father loves meatloaf. I would rather be stabbed than eat meatloaf.
Oh.
And that's just the way it's going to be. But that doesn't mean he's right and I'm wrong, or that I'm right and he's wrong. So, um, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But meatloaf is gross. So I know I'm right on that one.
okay, okay, wait a minute. Does he want the meatloaf that actually has the oats rolled into it?
Oh, anything, crackers. I mean, ugh.
Oh,
Oh,
Well, I
and
don't. I don't
and
I'm
want to
with
and
talk
the
you,
about it.
Cheryl.
ketchup? Did
Yeah.
you see my post on that, gelatin mold with
Yes.
SpaghettiOs,
Oh no,
olives? Like,
no,
come on, this is
no.
No.
not good happy hour food,
No,
y'all.
Nope.
no, no, no. So there's too many other things out there that are good and that are worth eating. I'm not wasting my time on
No.
SpaghettiOs and meatloaf.
No,
Life is
okay,
short.
this is happy hour, so let's get to it. This is the big question I love about the happy hour show is, if you could spend happy hour with anyone in the world, who would it be? Where would you go? What are you going to eat and drink together? But what do you want to talk about? Happy hours about laughing and learning, having fun, right? Getting together. whether you're drinking wine or a soda, it doesn't matter, but we still want to know what you're doing because we want to hear. So let's do that. Let's find out. And it's spring, so I've got my lady. I know who I want to go happy hour with because it would mean the world to me. But let's go to you, Merle. Who do you want to spend happy hour with and have like a spring adventure with?
So in the spring, we get out our patio furniture. We have a deck on the back of our house, and it's just such a special place. We put plants there and herbs. It's like our own secret garden. And my mother passed away a year ago.
Hmm.
It was March 9th.
I'm sorry.
So
Oh, it's toast to her.
yeah. Yeah. So when you asked me that question, I thought about her. I thought it would be nice to be sitting on my back deck with my
Mm.
mom, and we would have a glass of semi-dry rosé and
Ooh.
some cheese and crackers, and we talk about her grandchildren because that was something that she was so proud of. So I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, we get to that point in life where it comes back around home, right? Where we want
Mhm.
to hone in on that. It's important. Our mommies are very important in our lives.
Yeah,
They really
definitely.
are. Mine is, and I'm bummed because she wanted to be here on the show, but as it gets to the point of like technical stuff. All right, so sacrifice to mom out there. But now, what are you going to eat and drink? Like, what are your main things for the two of
So
you?
I would like a glass of rosé,
Yeah,
semi-dry,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, and some cheese. I think some Gruyere cheese,
Oh,
crackers, possibly some pâté,
oh,
and we probably
oh.
wouldn't need dinner afterwards.
But semi-dry rosé, I love this. I love that you brought up rosé because I think people are still learning about it in our
Mhm.
country. I don't know about Canada, but in our country, it's the last 10 years made it like I think at one point people thought it was that's pink stuff that came out of a box.
Yes, I think you're right. And but now it's seen as something that you drink when the weather starts to warm up.
And if somebody wants the pink stuff out of the box, drink it, have a good time. Just,
Yeah,
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 really. I don't. To me, it's whatever floats your boat, man. As long as everyone's happy and not doing anything mean. So yeah. So rosé.
definitely.
I mean, is do you have wineries that make rosé in Canada? Is that
We
possible?
do. Yeah,
Really?
we have quite a few actually. In Ontario, there are many great wineries. One that I really like is called Tawse, Tawse. So I quite like their wines.
Hmm. Okay, I love this, and I love that you're doing this with your mom and talking about grandkids and cheese Gruyere. Yeah, yeah, you can't beat that. And outside, do you have a nice garden?
We do. In fact, my husband is making it even bigger. He's tripling his vegetable garden this
Awesome.
year, and we're going to have eggplant and zucchini and all kinds of other vegetables.
Nothing like fresh grown, right? And right
Mm.
out there. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Cheryl, for you, who, what, and where for your happy hour?
I would choose my paternal grandmother, and she's really
Wow.
one who inspired me to travel because as a young girl, she and my grandfather would go on big trips, Australia, I mean Europe, and I just thought you have to be old and rich to travel. And so she really was kind of my inspiration thinking I want to travel, I want to be like them because they always brought us home something really special from the trips, gold charms and things like that. And so I would love to sit down with her because I lost her when I was young married. I think I was 24 or 30 anyway. But I wish I would have had more conversations about where they went and how travel impacted her. And
Mm.
I miss that. And so I would love to sit down and just tell me about places she went. And I'm sure there's places that I've been, and just think about that, having that in common. And
Yeah. Because
she,
thinking
yeah,
also about women at the time traveling, like for
mhm,
you traveling as a solo woman, that's still pretty new.
right.
Honestly, isn't it?
Right. Well, she traveled with my grandfather, and so they
Yeah. But
traveled
I'm
as a
saying for
couple.
you,
But yes,
she
it
would
is.
be
Uh-huh.
interested in that
I think
probably.
so. I think she would be really proud to think of how brave I was to make those first few trips. And now people say, "Are you afraid to go?" No, 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 no. I keep my passport very handy. Um, I, it's just fun. It's just second nature for me at this point. But it's taken some time to get there. But anyway, we would, because I do have a sweet tooth, and my grandmother did as well. We would have Victoria. We'd go to London, of course, and we would have Victoria sponge cake and tea or coffee. And just wander around. We'd go in the spring when the gardens there's daffodils and tulips everywhere, and we would just wander around London and hear about her experiences.
Oh, I love that. Gardens and tulips and flower power. My lady is Carolyn Dorman, and she was an educator way back when, and she today is actually World Forest Day. And so I wanted to talk about her because Louisiana, and I know I've talked about her before on shows, but Louisiana's only national forest is the Kisatchie National Forest, which we've been to. And Carolyn Dorman was really part of saving and making it happen. She was a conservationist who stood up even as a teacher. She's a naturalist and ethno ethnographer. I can't pronounce anything, can I? It's happy hour. Um, but she brought environmental education into schools, which was a
Wow.
no-no at that time. They didn't think it was a big deal, right? And she did that, and then she helped actually saved what is now Kisatchie National Forest, and it spans like DeRidder and Fort Polk and all that area, all the way up through Natchitoches, Louisiana. It's got so many different parts of this forest, right? It's Long Pine, and this is where the Louisiana maneuvers happened, which was where the tanks came in and learned how to fight in World War II. So much happens. I mean, there's military posts there. I mean, the history of Kisatchie National Forest is incredible. And it's a beautiful hiking destination. And when you hike there, you will see magnolia trees in the wild with full blooms if you're in the right season. It is just incredible. You'll see pines and palms and little waterways. And I mean, you might see wild pigs, and I know they like to kill them, but I think they're cute. But they also are protecting all these birds. But there is now what is called Briarwood, which is it's a reserve. It's where her home was, and this Briarwood, we've been there a couple times now, and I really want to go back. And now all their iris are blooming. It's gardens and gardens and gardens and natural gardens and natural swamp. And she also has the grandpappy, which is her favorite longleaf pine, said to be one of the oldest and biggest longleaf pine trees there. So I would like to they have a cabin on this property. Like her house is there. You could go in there. Very simple, but she did all these illustrations which I'm addicted to botanical art. Like botanical illustrations of plants and birds and anything like that because it really shows science and nature together, as science, not science and nature, as science and art together, and it really helps you identify and understand plants and things like that. Anyway, so she did a lot of that, and when you go into her little house, you see her art studio and all her collections of seed pods and rocks. And anyway, I
Wow.
I just wanna hang out with this educator lady. She's passed on, but her place is there. It's a nonprofit, and you can go there, and they have all these events, but, beautiful gardens, but I feel like I wanna go there's a cabin there on the property, and they call it the writer's cabin, and I wanna stay there. So I
Mm.
would like to stay the night, but I would like to have a picnic lunch with her under the grandpappy tree, which is by the swamp, and, I think just sandwiches or whatever, easy, or meat pies since Natchitoches is next door, Natchitoches, Louisiana, known for their meat pies. But I would like to try like elderflower wine or something. I would like to see about like what can we do from flowers in her reserve that we can make a little tipsy and see what happens. I
I
mean,
like
come on, or we don't even have to make it into tipsy land, just. extract the pure juice. I know in Mexico they do that with hibiscus flower and make
Mm,
awesome drinks and teas, and so I kind of feel like we could do some floral, I don't know, elderflower for some reason comes
sounds
to mind.
great.
Sounds very good.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's who I want to hang out with. I love that you both chose family because I think that's very important in our lives too. But ladies, what a fun happy hour. So where is next for you, Merle? I know you just came back from Bangkok.
Croatia, actually.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah,
Any tips?
Croatia,
Any
and
tips, Cheryl? Yeah.
yeah, and
It,
Budapest,
oh,
and then
Budapest is amazing. Oh,
yeah,
we got to talk. We got to talk
yeah,
more.
yeah. And my daughter lives in Edinburgh, Scotland, so I'll be going there too.
Oh, well, I know that Cheryl loves Edinburgh too. Don't you,
Oh, how
Cheryl? I
fun.
know.
I do. But how fun for you. I hope you're just
Yeah,
going to love Croatia.
I hope. Yeah, I hear it's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is.
And
It's
and
special.
Budapest, I know you've just done that too.
Yeah, we've done
Uh-huh.
Budapest the last couple of years. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
You've got to
Wow.
do a nighttime cruise on the Danube so you can see
Okay.
Parliament all lit up at night. Yeah, we'll have to connect. I'll send you some of my
Yeah,
favorite tips and ideas of must see, must
terrific.
do. So
Oh, I'm
absolutely,
connecting y'all
Thank
for
you.
sure on that. I was going to say, and everyone, Merle is part of the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association. We do shows with them every second Tuesday, Friday, and third Wednesday. I mean, third Monday. I knew I was going to mess up there. Third Monday. So, everyone, keep up with them. Go to ifwtwa.org. They have a conference coming up in October
Louisiana.
in Lafayette, Louisiana, the happiest place on the planet, right? It is. I love Louisiana, and we'll have Ben on our show from Lafayette, CVB. And on the second Tuesday of April, he'll be back on the show. But are you going to that, Merle?
I plan to. Yes,
Cool.
definitely. Yeah.
I wanna see that because of the Cajun and Canadian connection, the French
Hmm.
connection, like, it's all there. I think that's gonna be epic. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
looking
I
forward to
mean,
it.
and you have Zydeco brunch. I mean, Tabasco is there, like, the
Oh,
Tabasco is there. They got alligators. Cheryl knows we love alligators, right?
yes, yes,
And then, like, send her photos like, "We saw this snake and a gator," and she's like, "You ain't bringing it to me
yeah,
when you come see us." Like,
yeah.
"Hey,
Nope, nope. I don't
don't
do
bring that."
snakes.
But no, I'm not saying Lafayette. Well, I know they do because they have a swamp. They have one of the biggest swamps too. I'm not gonna pronounce anything today. I no, I'm too done.
That's
But,
okay.
no, Atchafalachia. No, I shouldn't. Atchafalachia. No, no.
Sounds like an illness. Are you okay? Do you need
Everybody
an aspirin?
everybody yeah, everybody wait till Ben comes on the show, okay? So second Tuesday of, April, Ben will be on the show, and he can pronounce it, and I'll be fine pronouncing it. But, Cheryl, where's next for you?
I am taking a 2 week road trip from Lubbock to Knoxville and Gatlinburg, Nashville,
mm.
Branson. I've been to some of those places, but I've never been to Branson. So my best friend and I are loading up. I mean, we're going to look like the Jodes loading up and heading east. But we are so excited. So we're doing Tennessee.
So
We're doing
fun.
almost 2 weeks. And then in May, like I said, I'm going to London. I got to get a London fix
Oh
in.
my
So,
gosh, I knew
of
it. Oh my
course.
gosh, I love
So,
that. Okay, so I'm gonna send you stuff on Tennessee.
okay.
I got Tennessee stuff for you
We're,
for sure that you have to check out. And,
okay.
I got a movie for you to watch too if you're gonna go to Branson.
Okay, send it away.
All
We've booked
right.
a ton of shows. We're gonna anyway. We're gonna be busy every minute of the day, but send it. We'll see what we can squeeze
When you
in.
go to yeah, I got now my brain's already going. Okay, so we're all gonna connect. Everyone, thank you so much. We're gonna get to our wine segments next. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us and making it through technical whatevers. We made it, didn't we? That's
We
what a
made
Thank
it.
happy hour
you.
is. It was a little stressful there, but we're all here. We're
Yeah.
all here.
We
It's
got it.
happy hour and happy spring to you both. And thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. It's wine
Thank,
time now.
thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thanks.
All right, here we go. We're going to get into some wine time with Peggy, but everyone, I want you to know the links. You've got to go to Bubby, again, superbubby.ca. And for that's for connecting with Merle, but also for Cheryl, go to heywannago.com. But now we're going to go over to Peggy in Arizona and talk about wine. So we can't celebrate spring and happy hour without Peggy Fiandaca being on the show. As you know, Peggy is on Big Blend Radio every first Wednesday talking about wine. Peggy and her husband Kurt own and run LDV Winery in Arizona. The tasting room is in the heart of Scottsdale, Arizona. And there's so many cool events that they have in the tasting room, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But the winery is also out in southeast Arizona, east of Tucson, southeast of Tucson. Beautiful area, and spring is glorious. And so I've got to ask, what's it looking like at the vineyard? Welcome back, Peggy.
Oh, thank you for having me. We love springtime in Arizona. It's the perfect time of year to get out and have some fun.
Mm, and busy where you are, especially in Scottsdale, right? This is, I mean, everybody's alive. The sun is out. The flowers are starting to bloom just now. Cactus will be, maybe it's already blooming. I know you've had a little cold, and
Right.
but this is the time of year where, like Scottsdale, don't you have a lot of sports events going on and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. We just are finishing up spring training and we've had so many events. There's a big race, car auto race this weekend and just so much to do. If you're bored, then you're not trying very hard.
You if
There
you need to go visit Peggy if you're bored. She'll sort you out.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, this is a big event that's happening in Arizona, in Scottsdale. It's Peggy's birthday coming up on Sunday. So
Yeah.
happy birthday. So you got to go visit her in the tasting room and say, Nancy and Lisa said you must, you must.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's so exciting because there's so many events, right? But then, when we look at wine in spring, it's like you feel like being outside, and your tasting room has a beautiful outdoor area. And if it does get a little too warm, people can sit inside, right?
that's correct. We have a great patio in the heart of all the activity along the waterfront in downtown Scottsdale. So, yeah, it's a great people watching. And of course, you enjoy a glass of wine and some appetizers, and you're going to have a great afternoon.
Okay, so let's talk about these events that you have. You've got a new series of Sunday events. We like that, like our Champagne Sunday shows, right?
Yeah,
we love,
yeah,
we love, there's something about just enjoying a Sunday with
exactly.
friends,
Yeah.
sharing a glass of, well, no, you're not sharing a glass with me. No one is.
No, no,
I'll
maybe a
share a
bottle.
bottle with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, a big bottle. I'll share a big bottle with you, or bottles with you, but no one's no.
yeah,
But having some, charcuterie board together or something like that, chocolate, all those things, it makes it really fun. But I do, before we get into that, want to touch on some of the really cool events. I know we talk about them on your show with us, again, everyone first Wednesday. But I love what you are doing at the tasting room. And so let's start off with Winemaker Saturdays. The next one comes up April 19th. And
right.
you get to learn. And this is what makes wine just so fascinating. And I know that you're just, we know you and Kurt, and you guys are so fun, and you make learning about wine fun. And I think we need more fun in life. So I want to come hang out
Yeah,
with you guys and learn
yeah.
something, because then we really get more, understand the value of wine.
Right. And so every winemaker Saturdays once a month with the winemaker. I mean, what a better way to start your Saturday morning with a glass of wine, some nibbles, and talk about wine with the winemaker.
Mm.
So in April 19th, we're going to be talking about our incredible volcanic soils and where we're located and where we grow our estate grapes and how that impacts the flavors of our wine and talk about our wines in comparison to like Sicily, where their grapes are grown in volcanic soils and other regions. So it's a fun way to start the day. Starts at 10:30 till noon, and then you go off and you have a wonderful Saturday in Old Town or wherever you're going. And then in April, we're back on April 10th, and we're going to do a blind wine tasting and test people's knowledge about wine and see if they can even determine if it's a white or a red wine if you're not seeing the color in the wine
Ooh,
glass.
now, I want to tell everyone if you go to ldvwinery.com, that website will number one, you can buy wine now, right? And you better get
Yes,
going because in May it starts to get a little too hot to ship. But you can learn more about the winery and they have all their events listed there. And you can hear Peggy's podcast there. But I just want to just go back on those dates. It's April 19th for volcanic soils and May 10th for the blind wine tasting. So
correct.
Peggy is like, yes, she wants everyone to come in April. She wants them now. But I think this
Yes,
is so cool to be able to have that. And it's an experience, right? The other
absolutely.
experience that I love, and this is actually going to, are we? Yeah, it's happening today, so I better not start. So you guys are already having a party today. Oh, why
Yes,
aren't we there? But let's start this out on April 17th. You have wine and cheese pairings. So you're going
right.
into different regional cheeses and then pairing them with your wines?
Correct. So on April 17th at 6 p.m., we're going to explore French cheeses with our wine. So we do four different wines and then we pair each wine with two different cheeses and talk about them. I give tips on how to pair wine and cheese, how to put together a cheese board when you're inviting guests over, and so on. So it'll be fun to really dig into what's the terroir of a region has like in from different regions in France on how the cheeses are made and talk about the wine and the terroir impacting our wines. And
Yeah,
yeah.
because that doesn't your kind of wine go with those kind of cheeses?
Oh, yeah, so many different wonderful cheeses. Yep.
Mm,
Um, and then in May 8th, we're going to explore California cheeses and pair them with our wines.
awesome, awesome. So everyone now, the other part is when we're talking about good food, right? And good wine
Yes.
being paired together, you do charcuterie making. And I think there's an art to it because there's color. It's how, look, I can't wrap gifts. I suck at it. I
Yeah.
really do. And I'm one of those people like everything must be organized and neat and all that stuff. But then there's like things that I'm completely opposite. And that is wrapping presents and then being able to make things look pretty like that. Like I'm into it and I look at it and I always go, oh, that's easy until you start making it. And then you try to roll the little salami, and then the salami says, oh, no, you don't know what you're doing. And then I just eat it, and it never actually makes to the charcuterie board. So
Right.
help.
Yeah. So these are great classes to learn the basics, and I have we have Liza, who's a great teacher for the charcuterie making. She does our charcuterie for our tasting room, and she does a fabulous job. And she's a lot of fun too. So what a better way to spend a Tuesday evening, but having wine and making your own charcuterie, and you can stay and have another glass of wine and enjoy that charcuterie on site, or you can take it home and with a bottle and share it with your family at home. But it's you make a charcuterie board. She gives you all kinds of tips, and we're doing that twice a month this spring on Tuesday evenings. So April
Mm.
25th is our next one, or excuse me, March 25th is our next one. And then we have April 15th and the 29th, and May 13th and the 27th. A lot of fun.
Mm. Now, wouldn't this be something cool to do for Mother's Day? I'm just saying it's coming. Easter, right?
Yes.
Easter
Oh, gosh,
charcuterie
yeah.
boards and Easter, right? But could you do that as a host gift or like a gift for your mom, that kind of thing? I know you could, learn how to do it so when you're entertaining, um, and of course you get to drink wine when you make it. So like that's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, it's a perfect gift. I mean, at the holidays, I had a lot of gift certificates go out, and they wanted very specifically to have the gift certificate for a upcoming charcuterie class. So we do these year round, and or we can do a specialty one. I have one planned this month for 20 people, and it's an outing, a girls' outing, basically, that they're having a special charcuterie making class just for them. So
Mm,
yeah, and we did an
cool.
anniversary, a couple together. They part of their fun day celebrating their anniversary included a charcuterie making class.
Cool. Um, I want to also go with something that you do a lot of, and this is when people schedule this unique event with you, and we talk about this on the show with you all the time because this is truly something about how to learn how to really taste wine. And that's about understanding your nose. Your nose
Yes,
knows. You get
yes,
Linez Duvin. Did I say it right yet?
you did, very good.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Yay. Okay.
Linez
Tell, yes.
Linez de Vin or wine aroma therapy for wine lovers, but it's a more intensive kind of class, and I do provide tips on helping people determine the nuances and the aromas as well as tasting wine. So it's very interactive, and you get to I test your nose basically to see how well it is picking up the nuances, and we try different wines, and we do a wine and chocolate pairing as part of it. So it's a lot of fun,
Mm,
and I do those whenever anyone would like. You and
mhm.
it works in my schedule. And if we can get 4 people or more together, I've done it for corporate groups up to 40 people and small groups of just four. So it's a fun event, and that's on our website. We'd love to share that information with people.
I love that. And the other thing too with this, right, is that it's great again, we're in spring season, which we all know starts to those wedding bells are going to be ringing
Mm-hmm.
all around. And so that's a great bridal shower kind of gift, I think. It's also a great way to, before you get, the bridal showers. Yeah, that's what it is.
Right,
I
right.
can't remember. Did we do all yeah. Back in the day when I was married, it was very quick. I
Uh,
apparently don't remember what all that is like. But
yeah.
bridal showers, and then I think again also from mom and daughters, and
Yes. Yep.
girl reunions, and this can be for guys too, not just girls. But
Oh,
I just kind of feel it's both.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've done it for, date nights. So several couples have come together, and we've done that and had a lot of fun um,
Mm,
testing each other's, guys versus girls on how well they're picking out the nuances on wine. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and then we do specialty workshops anytime. For example, I have one coming up that is desserts. So I'm actually pairing different wines with different kinds of desserts. So not just chocolate, but desserts. And that's for a corporate group that's coming into town, and they wanted to
mm.
do something different. So I'm always game. So call LDV Winery, and we can figure out what your group might want to learn about. And
If it's anything that sounds like a good time, like call
I'm in.
Peggy. That doesn't. I mean, I don't mean it in
Yeah.
that other way, but
Yep. Yep. I'm in. I'm in.
she you know what, and I think again it's fun, it's a way to learn, and it's just such a good way to get people together and do something instead of just the typical thing. Do something, we're at that era now where everybody wants to have an authentic experience, something, people are investing in experience more than anything, and
Right.
that's part of it. And when you're traveling, like when you're Scottsdale is like it's on fire right now, not in that kind of way, but
Right.
it's happening. This is a great
Right.
season to visit. While you're there, why not do that? And then when it gets to those hot summer days, why not go sit in some air conditioning and do some fun stuff too? It's like,
Right.
there's pool time, there's wine time, there's
Right.
all that. So I
Right.
love what you're doing. The other thing I'm very excited about because I think this really goes to what we talked about at the beginning of, I think it was last year. We were talking about Scottsdale becoming a blue zone community, right? And
Right.
that's about having a healthy community, those people that live forever. Well, they slow down, share meals together, laugh, be part of their community. And I know that you're about people getting together, and you have this new program called Share and Pair Sundays. I love this. And you're kicking this off on your birthday, right? It goes from your birthday to National Wine Day. This is like the best spring ever.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's 10 Sundays, and let's make Sunday fun day. It's a great day to kick back and come together. And we've joined this basically national movement, to make these 10 Sundays something that we get together and share a glass of wine and talk, just socialize. A lot of people are still kind of lonely. They are not getting out and about, and this will pull them out and have, come join us and have a glass of wine. We want to get to know you and share our Sundays with you. So Kurt and I are going to be at the tasting room quite a few of these Sundays, just hanging out and talking to people. And we've identified some of those Sundays where we're having a special glass of wine and an appetizer pairing that people can enjoy. Like on my birthday, of course, I'm Italian, so we're going to have my Italian
Ooh,
meatballs,
ooh,
paired with a glass of wine, and we're going to do that on April 6th and April 27th, and a couple Sundays in May, and then also on a few of these 10 Sundays, we're big Arizona State University alumni, and we're going to have Sun Devil Sundays and once a month. And if you show up and wear your Sun Devil colors and gear, we're going to have happy hour pricing all day for those folks. So we just want to pull people out. Wine, we're not promoting wine as come out and get drunk with us. We're
mm-hmm.
promoting moderation of wine consumption and having it be part of a fun experience. Even we're now carrying quite a few non-alcoholic wines,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and so that you don't have to be a wine drinker to join your friends who do enjoy drinking wine. You can come and have a sparkling non-alcoholic wine with your friends, but do get out. Do get out and share and pair our
Yeah,
Sunday fun days.
I love that because a lot of people who don't drink, they're the designated driver and they get treated like, here's your glass of water.
Yeah,
It's like,
no.
no, they're, and a lot of people, they give up wine for Lent. Not me.
Mhm. Right?
That's just not happening. But for all of you who do, like, bow down. All those who do, what's it, sober October, dry January, well
Right.
done. Well done. Thanks for doing it for me. So do both ones for me because I'm not doing it. But I appreciate that. And I really do. But, it's like, that's great that you consider, the other people, the friends and everything. And I think it is about community. When someone is miserable and feeling lonely, that's when the bottle becomes not a good friend.
Correct.
It is about being festive and fun. And I love that you have these surrounding events that you're learning. And maybe we put our phones down, except for maybe some photos or whatever, but not having that, we're so attached to our phones, which actually creates anxiety. And so I
Right.
think, right now the world is a little wonky. Um, People are still a little argumentative about what's going on. Why not find what your common ground is? And that's by
Correct.
doing events and looking at the fun side of things. And I think the more we actively put fun and togetherness and unity together, like make it happen, maybe that'll
Right.
change things up a little bit.
Yeah, and if some of your guests can't come out to Arizona during this time frame, they should get on the website, the Share and Pair Sundays website. It's shareandpairsundays.com, and see what's happening in your area to celebrate coming together over a glass of wine and during
That's
this
awesome.
March 23rd through May 25th, which is National Wine Day. So,
Mm.
yeah, don't be bored. Get out, have fun, socialize, meet some new friends, or just get together with your friends over a glass of wine this spring.
Awesome. I love that. Feel the true joys of spring. Sip wine with friends. That is the best way. Awesome,
Yep.
Peggy. Thank you so much. Can't wait for our next episode with you. Again, everyone, Peggy's on Big Blend Radio every first Wednesday at 4 p.m. Arizona time. So keep up with her at ldvwinery.com. Cheers to you, Peggy, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, we can't have a happy hour and talk about spring happy hour without going to Bells Up Winery up in Willamette Valley in Oregon, not far from Portland. In fact, we just did a podcast about Portland, and I kept going, huh. I better like, how do we tell them about, Bells Up is around the corner. So we've got Dave Spector, the winemaker, here on the show. You can go to bellsupwinery.com. Dave, welcome back. How are you?
Oh, it's great, Lisa. Thanks so much for having me.
So how far are you from, or short away, distance away, are you from Portland?
About 25 miles. On a good traffic day, you can probably get here from downtown in about 45 minutes.
Nice.
Realistically, probably more like an hour. But the
Okay.
nice thing is it's not going to take you multiple hours. And for most of my Portland customers, it's just basically a day trip down in the area. And
Mm.
they may hit us along with some other places, but it's a wonderful little spot that we have, so convenient. And from a livability perspective too, lets us enjoy the fun things in Portland without actually having to live in the city.
Okay. Now, do people ever spend the night in your area? Um,
Oh, absolutely. We have an extraordinary number of hospitality options for folks. We have some of the best bed and breakfast options that you'll find anywhere. Just in our circle, probably about 5 miles around us, I could name you 4 or 5 places off the top of my head that I would highly recommend. We have Airbnb options. We also have the Allison Hotel and Spa, which is a
mm.
five-star resort, literally a 2-minute drive from our winery.
Okay. All right. So we're building this up, y'all. Okay. If you're going to celebrate spring, this sounds good. Spa treatments, wine. I mean, this is good. How is spring looking in the vineyard? Because last time you were on the show was around Christmas time. And by the way, the vineyard is planted on top of an old Christmas tree farm. So that's pretty cool. But what's it looking like for spring? Any little leaves out yet, or is it still too cold?
Still a little cold yet. We in a normal year we would see buds breaking on the vines roughly in the middle of April. So we're still a little bit of ways from that now, as we're kind of still in the middle part of March as we're recording today. The temperatures that we're seeing are pretty normal for what
Mm.
we're used to seeing this time of year. So I don't see anything that would lead me to think that we will have anything other than a normal bud break. But, one of the things about being in the agriculture business, as you know, is anything can happen at any time. So we are always watching, we are always on our guard, and always having to adjust our expectations accordingly.
Well, you guys have to have really good weather because we want more good wine from you. And also, I know Nancy and I are planning on being in your area. Well, we'll be in Eugene, but I mean, you're not far. As far as if we're in Oregon, we're coming to see you. Last time there were ice storms and it ruined our wine time and seeing you guys in person. But, I think they need to give us, the weather gods give us a break and let us get out to you. But let's talk about that because people wanting to come out and doing a tasting, when I say, oh, people coming out, there's lodging options, all that kind of thing. You are really a small boutique winery who makes excellent wines. I mean, they really are excellent. So it's a very special experience. So we have a special event we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first, for those who are in Oregon or going to Oregon, for them to have an in-person tasting, this is a little different. They do make an appointment with you, right?
That's right. And as you said, we are one of the smallest wineries in the valley. I only make about 600 or 700 total cases of wine per year, and that's across whites, pinks, reds, bubbles, all that. When you add it all up, is going to come to about 600 to 700. We don't have any employees, so I make the wine, I drive the tractor, and I am the one that does probably 99.9% of the appointments for when folks are here. A normal appointment with us is, as you said, folks will call up, make an appointment because we only take one group at a time when people are
Mhm.
here. I always found that when you try to combine different groups into one setting, it always was awkward. You would have some people very new to wine, some people very experienced in wine. Really hard to have a good cohesive conversation. And our goal, being a really small place, is to make as many long-term relationships as we possibly can. So I don't care how new you are, how experienced you are in wine. Wherever you are, I want to be able to talk to you at the level that you're at, not
Mm.
over, not under. So make the experience much more meaningful to you. So they will usually last, roughly an hour and a half. And I will pour you somewhere between 5 to 7 wines, just kind of depending on what it is that we have going on that particular time. But yeah, and there is, as I say all the time, there is nothing that I do in this operation that I won't tell you.
Mhm.
So there is no question to ask me that is out of bounds or too personal, whatever.
Trust me, I've asked him everything. No, I'm kidding.
we
Kidding.
we share it because at the end of the day, we're really no different than our customers. We made a few
Mm.
different life choices, but we love sharing what we do. That's the goods, the crazies, even the little mistakes that we make from time to time. It's just part of the growth process, and we're not ashamed of it. So sharing literally the fruits of our labor is the thing that gets us really excited. So we always love to have folks come up and see us.
And so you've got a wine tasting on site with the winemaker who goes through the wines. I know that you can do this through Zoom if you absolutely have to, but going in person is going to be cool. So you can do both. Um, but I wanted to touch on the wines that you have so people know what to expect. What will they be tasting when they come to do a tasting with you? And then we'll get into your special event when there's more tasting and food. I mean, are there nibbles when people do a tasting with you? That's actually a really good point. That I mean, crackers or something in between or can people bring their own food or something?
Absolutely. We do have crackers that we provide. They're gluten free. They are a sea salt. I will tell you that the chips that we have are probably the best wine tasting chips I have ever come across.
Okay.
And there are times when people get so excited about the chips that I kind of get a little worried. I'm like, it's great
Uh
that you
oh.
like the chips, but yeah, um, outside food is we have to be very, very careful about outside food. We've had good experiences, we've had negative experiences. So it's sort of on a case by case basis. But this is one of the reasons why we like to do these special events, particularly with food pairings, so that we can
Mm,
give folks an opportunity to really see, what some fun pairings would be. Now, as far as the wines themselves go, I think as a lot of people know, the Willamette Valley, where I'm located, is a very big Pinot Noir territory. So we do make plenty of Pinot Noir, but we also have a few different white wines. I make there are two that I have. One is Pinot Blanc, which is a genetic mutation of Pinot Noir, which is a very, very
mm,
fun everyday grape. We have another grape called Seyval Blanc, which we are the only planting of in the Willamette Valley. It's a grape that normally you would find actually in the Finger Lakes in New York
mm,
State. But it's a grape we're very familiar with because we lived in the Midwest before we moved here, so we saw a lot of it there. In addition, we grow another grape here, which we have not done a commercial production of yet, but that is coming. It is an Italian grape. It is called Schioppettino,
mm.
and I will not ask people to remember that name for now because eventually it will get a musical name that you can actually spell and pronounce. But that's a fun one that's
Cool.
coming. We also purchased Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon grapes from the Walla Walla area. It's still in Oregon, but it's over on the eastern part of
Hmm.
Oregon where it's hotter and drier. So what we try to do at our place is to give folks variety and choices because many vineyards and wineries in this area have a very small number of offerings as far as the grapes themselves. You may be given 4 or 5 different Pinot Noirs, but you don't really get an opportunity to try some different things. And so that's one of the roles that we're trying to fill here.
And it's okay and to not be able to pronounce half of the wines that you're talking about. That's great. I want to be able to be in a safe space so I can not pronounce things and say that one over there, whatever it is, or try to say it and, pronounce it because I have my own languages. But this is such a fun thing. So you have this really cool event coming up, and it's on April 27th, everyone. If you are in the area or, visiting the region, and this is where you're pairing your wine with Mexican cuisine. This is what I think is really great because a lot of people don't realize they first think of beer with Mexican food or margaritas. And Mexico, by the way, makes some fabulous wine. I just got to give a shout out to that. Um, but so now you're doing a pairing of your wines with Mexican cuisine. You're going to be doing a dinner, and you have a chef joining you. And so I just want to know: are you both going to be talking, or is he just cooking?
Oh,
What's going on? Because you have Chef Carlos Perez, right, joining you.
Yes, we're very lucky to be working with Chef Carlos, and yes, he is going to be there, and yes, he is going to be there presenting. Um,
Awesome.
his background is really interesting. He has worked in a variety of food preparation roles, and he has extensive training in classical European techniques, French, Italian, Spanish cuisines and techniques, but he is applying those to his Mexican food. Um, which is a real neat twist and a lot of
Mm,
fun. And we've really asked him to, for purposes of this pairings, to lean into that and to really accentuate, how those flavors that he is so used to can really pair so nicely with Pinot Noir and Syrah and some wines that you may not have expected. But as we have been working with him through this process, what we have seen is there are just so many amazing possibilities, in part because of the variety of Mexican flavors that are available, and because of how versatile Pinot Noir can be.
mm,
It's a lighter red wine, but even within that, there are a lot of ways to do a lot of different sorts of things. You could make a spicier Pinot Noir. You could make a lighter Pinot Noir. You could make a juicier Pinot Noir. A lot of different options, which all can accentuate very different parts of what Chef Carlos can do. So,
mm.
um, he has created a 4 course offering, and so we will be presenting our library wines, which we would
Yeah,
be
this is
newly released, our
special.
2017 vintage wines
Wow.
that we will be
Cool.
pairing with those courses. So these are older wines, and it's a really rare opportunity for people to be able to try these wines. These aren't things that we regularly pour in the tasting room.
Mm,
These are wines that we have been keeping aside for, well, in this case, 7 years. To be able to
wow.
release them now when they've had some age and maturity to the wines, all of which is really going to just add to the pairing and the quality of the experience that folks will have trying them together.
So this is really a special event. I mean, to be able to have the Library Wines 2017, that is magic. To be able to taste them. Okay, so you're going to have all these different, foods going with it. You've got the Titan, Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. You've got all the. Okay, you pronounced the Namarki. Uh-oh, you
That's
better do that.
Namarniki. Yep.
All right. You can pronounce all the, yeah, you got a Firebird. I'm interested in the Firebird. I can say that. Firebird Summit View Vineyard Syrah. You pronounce the other two. Let everybody. You do it.
Sure.
Tell
As you said, we're going to start by pouring the 2017 Titan Pinot Noir. The Titan is our flagship wine. It is what I consider to be a classic example of Oregon Pinot Noir. Full
mm,
flavored, light bodied. It hits every
mm,
part of your palate. It creates a nice rolling sensation across the palate.
mm.
And Chef Carlos has prepared a wonderful fried risotto and wild
Ooh,
mushroom dish that's going to be
nice.
paired with that. The
And he's
next
he's
one,
using
oh,
the
sorry.
Bells Up wine in it too, because he's
Yes, he is.
deglazing it with
Yes, he is.
the time.
Wherever the
Oh,
possibilities are to use the wine actually in the recipes, he has done that and leaned into that.
ooh. Next
So
up,
the next one is the Candide Pinot Noir, which was from, and this is where we talked about the Namarniki vineyard, my dear friend Diane Namarnik, her vineyard, which is about 10 minutes from us.
please tell her I'm
Can
sorry for butchering her name.
No,
Sorry.
that's
That's
okay.
why podcast hosts are so great when they can't pronounce anything. But please, my apologies. I'll buy your wine.
Diane has a great sense of humor, so she will be perfectly fine with that. But Candide is our spicy, peppery Pinot Noir. And so for that,
Mm,
you can imagine that already is going to lend itself very well to a
perfect.
Mexican dish. So Chef Carlos has prepared a tomato confit on blue corn
Mm,
tortillas, which is just, again, when we tried this, you're talking about green sea salt, olive oil. There's a lot of there's a lot of Italian influence on this that you'll see. So you
mm.
kind of get the Italian Mexican and then a spicy Pinot Noir that gets paired with that.
And I love that you're doing a blue corn tortilla. So that blue corn is coming from New Mexico. That is the place of where it comes from. So just that in itself, it's that is special. Ooh, the next one's looking good. Ooh, and he's doing like
Oh,
vegetarian versions if you don't eat meat. This is cool.
absolutely. We have tried to kind of think of everything. The nice thing about just even the base menu is that we've already covered gluten-free options. So there isn't anything on here that's going to be a gluten-free problem. But with this next course in particular, we're talking about our 2017 Villanelle Pinot Noir and the Chipotle Cherry Barbecue Glazed
Mm,
Meatballs. Um,
wow.
Oh my goodness. When we
Yeah.
sat and tried this, I think my wife Sarah and I both kind of looked at each other and said, "Well, I wonder what this was going to be like." And when we tasted this, we realized, wow, just the explosion of the cherry flavor.
And the
Without
Bing
being
cherries, which are from your area, right? I
oh
think you do
yes.
have cherries in some of your, yeah. Ooh,
Mhm.
cool.
So the Villanelle is the most elegant of our Pinot Noirs. Although the 2017 version, interestingly, as we tasted, it was a little bit bolder than we expected. And for that reason,
Mm,
pairing this with a meat course was how we decided to go. It just kind of shows you that wine will surprise you sometimes, but you sort of take it as it comes.
mm-hmm,
And just absolutely loved it. I should also add the vegetarian substitution here for the meatballs is cauliflower. So to be the same
mm.
glaze, just over cauliflower instead of the meatballs.
And the meat part of it for the meatballs is grass-fed beef, which is nice. So you guys are really doing farm to table, which is absolutely awesome to keep it in that, it goes with who you are. And then the last course, ooh, tell everybody about this.
Oh, so this was one that just when we saw just the pictures of it was our mouth watering. So the last wine that we're going to use is our Firebird Syrah.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people think of Syrah as being a bigger, bolder, more tannic, heavy wine. And it certainly can be that way. Ours is very different. It's a lot lighter. It's a lot more elegant. It gives you the flavor that you're expecting in Syrah, but it is way toned down. And time has only even more so benefited that elegance of this wine. And for that, it gives us an opportunity to do a mix of seasonal vegetables, pea, and avocado puree on a thin, crispy Tillamook cheese cracker. It is a really fun thing just to look at. I think the thing that would remind me most of just looking at it is a tostada.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
And I can tell you there are so many different flavors in there with what he's been able to do. I mean, we have just been so impressed. And
Beautiful.
so that he's put some pairings together that I have to say, when we first started out, we wouldn't have guessed, but as we went through the process and really saw how the wines were complementing, Chef Carlos has done an amazing, amazing job. We're really so excited about it.
Yeah, but I love that when it's a surprise, just like Sarah and her great pie. When she came on the show about pie, she says, I made a great pie. I'm like, well, yeah, that figures. But then I'm like, what? And then she was the same way, like, what? And you guys apparently eat grape pie with wine. So,
Yep. And as a matter of fact, the Firebird Syrah we're talking about is, which we have found to be a fantastic pairing with that great pie. And you would just never think that. But, I think a lot of it comes down to this idea that, yeah, I think the quote was attributed to Ben Franklin, doubt a little bit of your own infallibility and be open to the idea that, wow, there really is something to this, and just don't miss an opportunity to prove yourself wrong.
oh, I don't. I prove myself wrong all the time. But, that's where, they say failure leads to success, and that's my thing. It's like if I make a mistake, I'm learning something. So Chef Carlos, he runs and owns Maya's Kitchen, right?
Yes, so Maya's Kitchen is his service. He cooks on site, off site. He does it for a variety of events at a variety
Awesome.
of places. Maya is his daughter, and I can
Cool.
tell you she is just an extraordinarily sweet little girl, and she's actually going to be at the event too. So you get to meet her.
Cool.
I think he might put her to work that day. She
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
doing some table bussing and things like that.
Cool.
But Carlos, very family oriented, again, very, very much like us. And it's just a really fun opportunity because, so much of what inspires him is what is immediately around him, and that's his family influence, his cultural influence. And we're only too happy to help him to show that off.
And you're doing 3 seating tastings, right? So 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. again. Everyone, this is April 27th. But gosh, the pricing to me um, is so affordable. Like really, especially if you do early bird pricing, everybody. Don't try to do it the day of, but you can still do that. But honestly, it's like especially for your library, your members, your winery club members. People like to be
Hmm.
part of the club.
Hmm.
So non-members, it's $55 each, prepaid reservation required. And if you're part of the club, it's $40 each, right? So that's pretty, and that's only 2 people you can't bring your entire family for that price. But that
Right.
is, am I right about the pricing?
No, that's right. That's the early bird pricing. So that applies prior to April the 6th. And then
Okay,
after that, it increases just $10 for each of those.
but
So 50
still,
for club members, 65 for not. And you're exactly right. I mean, one of the things that we've noticed in this area is a lot of people do events, but a lot of these are really high upscale events. And they cost a lot of money and they're very lavish. And honestly, that's really just kind of not us. I mean, our customers are much more like us, normal people that just really love wine. And I want to be able to provide something for them that, hey, you're
yeah,
you're going to get the opportunity to have some really fun things, and you're not going to have to pay an arm and a leg for it. It
yeah,
just come on in and meet us and have a good time. And, we don't need to, we don't have a massive staff that we need to, support by
hmm,
$200 per person deals and things like
yeah.
that. So gives us a lot more flexibility, and we can make things a lot more affordable and approachable for people.
So everyone's tasting now. Can people buy the same wine that they're tasting, or is it like it's a library wine, it's closed off after that?
Nope, they can absolutely buy it while they're here. We as a general rule, we don't keep a lot of bottles of our library, but we'll certainly have enough for folks to buy while they're here. The pricing on the bottles is going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different than it normally
You
is.
sure?
But the Titan, for example, would be an $80 wine for club members and a $90 wine for non-club members. I think we're going to do special pricing at the event. We haven't decided exactly how much that's going to look like. But like I said, that's another benefit is that you get the opportunity to get a little bit of a discount on these library wines that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to have.
Oh, I love this. What a cool event and happy spring. Hey.
Oh, you too. You
What a
too.
good way to celebrate. Everyone, bellsupwinery.com is a place to go. And like I was saying at the beginning, there are, these amazing tastings that you can plan to go when you go to Oregon, or if you're in Oregon. If you can't make this tasting dinner, which sounds absolutely fabulous. So if you can do that, that would be awesome. But what a special event. But if not, if you're traveling through Oregon in summer, call Dave and Sarah and have a tasting. And one thing you could do is go tasting while they're harvesting. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Dave, we'll talk to you again soon, but happy hour to you.
To you too, Lisa. Thank you so much. I've always loved being on with you.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Happy Hour podcast. New episodes air every second Monday and third Friday. Visit us at bigblendradio.com.